right now, from the Mississippi Live Weather Center, here's Mississippi's Chief Meteorologist, Matt Lobhon.
Hey there, Chief Meteorologist Matt Lobhon here, just kind of looking at some things around the area. Figured we'd do a midday update as we still kind of figure out exactly what it is that people are looking for and when they're wanting to watch it here on Mississippi Live Weather. So there's still a little experimentation going on as far as that is concerned, but I figured I'd pull up our chat here behind the scenes. We can have that as well. It's obviously not a very active day, not like we have really necessarily severe weather outside the fact that we had the number one weather-related killer out there today, and that is extreme heat. And certainly we have a ton of that still taking shape. I mean, the fact that it's 87 right now and Macon feels like 97, obviously one of those signs that things are not necessarily as they should be at this point, but they are as expected because it has turned into a very hot day. And not just there, but a lot of other spots right now coming in the Caledonia area. One of our hotter locations, 92, feels like 106. That's why we have these extreme heat warnings in effect for this afternoon and into this evening. Because of this, obviously, it's not a pleasant situation a lot of folks are dealing with out there at this time. I'm gonna get my graphic here kind of situated behind the scenes. Kind of check a few other spots and go out toward Batesville as of the basically noontime period. That temperature 93 feels like 106. The Delta's kind of been hit the hardest by some of these extremely hot temperatures this afternoon, and will be again today like they have been the last couple of days. For example, it's 97 for the actual temperature and feels like 109 right now in Greenwood. Those clouds fairly flat. That referencing one of the other factors, we just don't have a lot in the way of precipitation, thankfully, at this point. I say thankfully, that's not true. I'd take some at my house. You'd probably take some at yours, but there's not much out there either way at this point in time. Appreciate the folks who come on and watch with us a little bit live at noontime. Not something we do often, not something we're going to do every day. But just kind of, I was down here working on some other stuff. I figured we might as well do a live update, right? Only one lightning strike showing up on this wider shot. It's with that back out there to the east. There's not much in the way of significant weather today, as you can check our severe weather outlook as a non-issue for our region. Nearest to that as well to the north of us. Same thing again for the next couple of days. No severe weather outlook for tomorrow or the day after that. Rainfall, we do have slightly better chances coming up over the next few days. Really the next 3 days rainfall amounts, though, you can see the greater amounts down to the south. So this remains very spotty sort of rainfall chances. So if you're looking for some help in that regard, that is not something we largely have with this pattern. Our day planner shows that as we go throughout today, our rain chances up around 20% by mid-afternoon. Still at 2 o'clock, it's going to be pretty spotty, but we'll say 3, 4, 5 o'clock, a greater chance to possibly see a couple of those popping up and in there by afternoon. 98, though, feeling like 108 or greater. That's the big story, obviously. Significant and dangerous heat continue out there. We have these heat alerts for all locations. I just happened to pick out Winston County there, but all locations under these extreme heat warnings. It's the highest level heat alert that the National Weather Service puts out in effect until 8 p.m. I could choose hose in any place. You can see Marshall back toward Tunica County, all 8 p.m. For locations out in Marion County, we show, of course, our excessive heat advisory, or our heat advisory for through tomorrow for those locations in Lamar, Pickens, and Franklin and Marion counties, all under that. And I expect if we were to remove this on here, we will at least be dealing with those heat advisories again for your Thursday for most locations. Here's that wet bulb globe temperature, one of those things we've been showing a lot lately. This is as of 3 p.m. Extreme levels on that heat injury risk, highly likely that if you're subjecting yourself to this, that we're going to have an issue with significant heat again as we go toward this afternoon and probably also tomorrow and the day after that as well. Unfortunately, those values remain still fairly high for some locations even through Friday, but that's shifting more toward the Golden Triangle as we have a front that will move through the area, starting north and moving its way south. So Futurecast, picking things up at 3 o'clock here, you can see a few isolated storms depicted on the latest version of that. You'll also notice a slightly different movement on these, kind of drifting more toward the north and east, but not a lot of organized movement on these, as they should be below severe limits for the most part. Maybe 1 or 2 stronger wind gusts, a possibility out of these. We show there around Hamilton, Alabama, and a couple down toward Louisville and Batesville. So again, pretty spotty in nature as we go throughout the afternoon and possibly into the early evening time period. We're 7:30, we're 8. 8 or 9 o'clock this evening. Again, the heat is more of the story than the rain, and unfortunately the rain not yielding much in the way of rain-cooled air, though obviously we could use a bit of that as we go into this evening still. Again, some spotty storms out there, even 10 to 11 o'clock for tonight. So we don't completely remove those rain chances by late this evening. As we look at that 7-day forecast, we're going about 95 for the high tomorrow. We're going to tweak some of these numbers as we go through the afternoon. This is kind of very early look at what we're kind of looking at here. But we're about 90 for Friday, 88 Saturday, 87 by Sunday. As we expect, it will continue to have, again, limited rain chances, maybe not accumulating to a lot of widespread rainfall, but in pockets there, obviously heavier amounts. That's what happens with thunderstorms there. The heat index, though, much more manageable in many spots by Friday as a front moves from north to south through the area. That'll bring some slightly cooler air with it, obviously making a huge impact. So slightly a big difference in this case with those temperatures, and again, pretty manageable even into the first part of next week, though. I don't know about you. I know Mrs. Lawpon would like to see some rainfall, and the chances remain still pretty spotty, even in extended forecast. Appreciate all y'all watching. I see Corinth, I see Calhoun City, Iuka, Walnut there, all watching us this afternoon. I appreciate all of that. I don't know that we're going to again do these midday updates all the time, but from time to time I think we'll pop in and kind of do these if there's something of interest, or just kind of happen to be around for that there. But obviously a very hot day unfolding, not just here but across the entire region. I mentioned the rainfall for the next 3 days. Look at the rainfall amounts the next 7 days, they don't go a lot greater. So one of the things that we haven't talked a ton about during our broadcast, but we should, is we start talking about that 30-day rainfall deficit, and it looks like that's the wrong color table on that. Let me see if I can force the color table. There you are. You can see there are some spots here where versus what we typically see this time of year, we're down quite a bit over the last month or so. Water Valley, Bruce, all in that 2 to 4 inches below what we typically would see over the last 30 days. So there are spots where obviously you could see up there northeast of Tupelo toward Boonville where we're a little heavier, but I gotta start getting my brain tuned to the fact that we've now gone kind of dry. In fact, in mentioning that, I think I have the drought monitor in here. We'll get a new one of those later this week. I have that in here someplace. Rainfall, 30% normal, drought monitor, there you go. We do have a few spots that are already starting to show up with at least limited drought levels out here closer to Grenada and Water Valley, starting on that level 1 out of 5 levels of drought that we often kind of reference there. So unfortunately, the rainfall is a little below what we would typically expect, and that's not a good sign there. As you can see, there are still some spots that are in the positive on that, but could use some moisture, that's for sure. So high in Hackleburg and in Becker there, Blue Springs, Boonville, Oxford, Caledonia, Hamilton, and Houston. And I see y'all on with us here at midday on this, God, what day of the week is this? Or Wednesday. It's a lot of long hours right now. Pray for the rest of the Lawpons, that I can be a slightly better dad about getting him on that. Okay, so we'll go ahead and send you this back to kind of our regular programming there for all you folks. But again, the extreme heat is the story once again today. And I just want to check on with the midday updates now. We should have the latest on those feels like heat indices. I'm just curious to see how rough it is. Just for comparative purposes, you can see where that cooler air behind that next front is. Back up here in the plains, it's also drier air. So let's just do that comparison game to give you an idea of what, to a certain extent, is coming. Well, I wouldn't get too excited about those 70s. That's pushing it a little bit. But, I mean, that's the difference, right? 112. It's rough here where our heat indices in the northeast Mississippi are 108 to 110. But as you can see, whew, back out there toward Arkansas, when you're 112 plus, and we will see some folks get that warm today. Definitely could be worse for a comparison. You could also say it could be better up there. And look at the dew points, they get a little bit less up here. So it's not necessarily, it's truly some drier air out there. So can't wait to see a little bit of that. All right, so we'll go ahead and wrap this up here. Of course, thanks for watching this little update here from Mississippi Live Weather. Our next true live broadcast will be up today at 5 o'clock, and we will be kind of adjusting some of those rain chances, looking maybe a little more in depth at some of those rainfall totals by then. Send us your weather pictures. We appreciate all the weather watchers out there that have done that. We love showcasing those for you, and keep it here for the very latest.